Everybody out there, and as well as to 6 students who have actually joined us here in the classroom. A very warm welcome to all of you. We are very excited, and we hope you're also excited about this course we're about to begin, which is entitled Water, Health, and Sustainable Development. Those of you who are out there in the ether, either in the United States or some other part of the world, you should feel just as welcome as all the students in this classroom, because we're going to try to create a community of learning that will embrace all of you in interesting ways, and from which we expect also to learn a great deal. My name is Joseph Hunt, and I come from a somewhat unusual background. Oh yes, I can't start without quoting one of my favorite poets, W.H. Auden, who once wrote, "Many people have lived without love, but no one can live without water," and I've always assumed poets know a lot more than I do, so I say trust the poet. Indeed, the early introduction I'd like to make tonight is that we're really in a crisis that the world hasn't quite woken up to, and obviously you sense it too, or you wouldn't be here. And the other quote that I always like to begin with comes from Fortune magazine, which after a meeting in Davao in Switzerland, where major investors were looking at the future, in particular of large infrastructure projects, water was considered the single most important economic issue facing our future, an issue of international security, promising to be what oil was to the 20th century, the precious commodity that determines the wealth of nations. And I would say yes, and let us proceed with the view that a major meeting that occurred in 2015 at the opening of the General Assembly of the United Nations endorsed a group of sustainable development goals that are expected to guide our sense of global governance, and indeed our sense of environmental governance, from 2016 to 2030. And we'll look at them in a little more detail later. But really, water is one of the important cross-cutting issues that in a sense floods, no pun intended, or drenches these goals.